the MS Michigan Man 64 podcast. My name is Brian Wallace, and I am the MS Michigan Man 64. The MS Michigan Man 64 podcast is about chronic disease awareness. I have had multiple sclerosis for the last 27 years. It's an invisible chronic disease that I've been battling for half of my life. I want to share with you what it is like living with the chronic disease from my experiences and the experiences of other chronic disease warriors. We can fight to have a voice to those that want to listen. Together, we can motivate and educate. Hi, and welcome to the MS Michigan Man 64 podcast. Today, I am back up in my favorite state of Michigan, where I played mid-football for the University of Michigan, and I am with a house divided. And both house members have MS, and this is going to be a really fun interview. I am talking to Darren and Destiny. They are engaged to be married in September. How are you both doing, Destiny and Darren?
I'm doing great.
I'm doing good.
Awesome. Nice to meet both of you. I'm going to start out with Darren. Darren, you got diagnosed with MS, and you have primary progressive MS. Can you kind of like just talk to us and tell us and kind of explain your journey with your diagnosis, how you started having symptoms, how old you were, and just kind of let us know what happened to you, bud?
My symptoms have been going on off and on throughout the years. I didn't know they had anything to do with the MS, so I just kept going about my day. Well, then I not literally blacked out, but needless to say, blacked out trying to pick up my niece and nephew from school, went in, and I got diagnosed eventually with MS.
Oh, Jesus. And how old did you say you were at this time, Darren?
I was 28.
28 years old, man. You were 2 years, about a year older than me. And I know the feeling when I got diagnosed, and I got diagnosed with relapse remit. I was pretty scared, and you know, I'm 27 years old, just got done playing football and all that. And how did that make you feel when you heard those words, MS? Did you even know what MS was? Because I really didn't.
I had no idea what MS was.
Yeah.
And I soon figured out the symptoms of that comes with the MS disease.
Yeah. So I obviously, you know, everybody can tell by the way you're talking that the MS is affecting your voice. I think it's called dysphagia. I have such a hard time pronouncing that word, and I apologize. Was that like an early symptom, or was that something that like came on after your diagnosis?
I'm gonna say it came on after my diagnosis.
And like I just want, because I don't know a lot about it, because it you know, it hasn't really affected me. I mean, I understand that it can affect the speech, but can you just kind of like take us through like that path, how that like the doctor described what was going on, and he was explaining what was happening to your voice, and like what kind of like treatments? I know that like we can talk about like the choking part of it, and because there's just so many things about this that I think people don't understand, that, you know, MS can affect your eyesight, your hearing, your the way you swallow, the way you talk. So I just want to like you to kind of explain the whole part of how it affects your speech, as you know, best you can.
It slows my speech down, and I feel like it makes my voice have an accent.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, and it's like your brain. Is it like in your brain? You're talking like you normally would before you were diagnosed, but the words just don't come out, that's got to be so frustrating, Darren. I know, like, I love to talk. Obviously, you could tell I'm like I never shut up, and if that affected my speech and all that, that'd be something that would be hard to accept for me. How did you accept this whole diagnosis, the mental part of it?
Why when I got diagnosed, like I said, I knew about it, and so I was kind of like dumbfounded with the disease.
Yeah.
I've been learning more and more with the disease, what the disease all entitles.
Gotcha.
Um, and then my speech has just slowed down over the past, 3 years, 4 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. All right. Darren, okay, let me give you a break here. I'm going to switch over to your fiance, Destiny. Destiny, you're part of the half of the house that I'm not friends with. For those of you that don't understand, Darren is a Michigan fan, go Blue, and Destiny is a Michigan State fan, the little brother.
Yep.
And
I like Sparty.
Yeah, Sparty. So they have a lot of fun with it, and I have fun with it too. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. But that's why I said they're the house divided. But the interesting thing about this is Destiny is Darren's fiance, and Destiny has multiple sclerosis too. So Destiny, I would like for you to kind of explain your path to your diagnosis with MS, and then we'll get into how you guys met and how you guys got together and all that awesome stuff.
Okay. I had vision issues in my right eye, and I thought it was like allergies, and then both my brothers have lazy eyes. And so I thought, oh, well, maybe it's just something with that finally caught up with me. But I had a scheduled eye exam, and so I'm like, they'll find out. And so I went, and my doctor was like, your vision's really bad in that eye. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably just from nothing. And she's like, no, I'm sending you to the specialist. Come back this week and you can see the specialist. So I came back and saw the specialist, and he said my optic nerve was swollen and that it is caused by two things. Either I have MS or I have a brain tumor. So he was going to send me to get an MRI. So I went and got an MRI, and then I went back and saw the specialist, and he said I had MS. Well, he told me, I can't tell you have MS because I'm not a neurologist, but I can tell you have optical neuritis caused by MS. You need to go see a neurologist.
Gotcha.
And so he referred me to a neurologist, Dr. Nasrallah. Funny story, actually, that's who diagnosed Darren originally with MS.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Wow.
And
small world, huh?
Very small world. I was 31 when I was diagnosed.
You were 31.
And so I went to my neurologist, and they were like, oh yeah, it's MS, and I wanted any information I could get on it. I love knowledge. Yeah. And I was like, can I have pamphlets? What do you have? And they gave me this like 2-page pamphlet on MS, and gave me 10 pages of MS drugs, like 10 pages of drugs and their side effects. And I was like, this is backwards. Like, I would like more information about the disease than, all these drugs.
So you didn't, so you didn't have a whole lot of knowledge about MS prior to your diagnosis either?
I know actually several people with MS, and my diagnosis was very quick. Like, I had my eye issue, had my MRI, found out I had MS, like with a neurologist and everything, in probably about 2 months. Mine was very quick.
Wow.
Yes, which I know I'm very rare in that instance. A lot of people have a lot of other side effects and a lot of symptoms and issues, and take years to find out what's wrong.
Yeah.
And I remember asking the neurologist if I had any other flare-ups, like at my MRI, was this my first one? And he was like, oh no, you've had others. So then, of course, you kind of like scramble your brain thinking about things like, oh, was that this? And was that,
Yeah.
I have several friends of family that have MS. I have a uncle. he's not really an uncle, but he's an uncle. And he has relapsed and remitting MS. His sister has primary progressive MS.
Okay. So
I had a high school friend. I mean,
so you knew about the disease. You had a lot of knowledge about the disease before your diagnosis. So it wasn't like this, holy crap, what is MS anyway?
No, I knew what MS was. I didn't know that there were different kinds at the time. I just knew that there was MS. And I knew that in the 4 friends that I knew that had it, there was a large range of symptoms, right? Like, I mean, one of them is in a wheelchair. One of them is walking like nothing happened. One of them has a cane. You know, I knew there was a very large range of symptoms, but I didn't know why. I didn't know what it meant, you know, like.
So let me ask you this, Destiny, because I'm just curious, because I didn't know what MS was when I got diagnosed. So being that you had that knowledge, that you actually weren't ignorant. I like to say the word ignorant when it comes, because I don't call people stupid. I just say, you know what, people are just ignorant.
No, I agree. For lack of knowledge, I agree.
So because you had the knowledge, how did that affect your mental health? Because you already understood exactly what MS was. So when you got the words MS, I mean, was it just like, okay, I get it, I understand what it is. So, or were you still like in a panic, like a lot of people are?
I wouldn't say I panicked. I kind of went between, I'm taking MS head on, I'm kicking its butt, I refuse to let it take me.
Okay.
And
that's because you knew what it was, though, right?
Partly, I think it's because I knew what it was. Yeah. Like partly, and that is kind of just who I am as well. To be fair, like I think that's partly just my personality.
That's the way you're wired. I get it. Yep.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
That. Like I just my friend says about, I like how you just never say quit. And I was like, I never really thought about it. Like
yeah. And I know because me and you seem like we have the same personalities, and Darren, because we joke around a lot. But by no means is this a fun disease. I mean, this disease sucks.
No.
And it kicks your ass. But if you can't find humor in it, I just think it tears you up. And that's what I love about it.
I feel like it wins twice if you don't. You know what I mean? Like if you find humor in it and you make the best situation, it sucks, but it sucks way more, and it gets. I feel like it wins twice if I just let it take away my joy as well.
Yeah. So
I mean, don't get me wrong. There was I had a woe with me. That's what I would call it. I had a woe with me for like a good week after I was diagnosed, where I was mopier than I would normally be and kind of concerned and, a little mourning the loss of things that could be, or the fact that I will have to be more cautious with my health, more aware of my health.
Right.
You got to make changes. I was like, okay.
Yeah, we just got to make changes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I attacked the disease the exact same way. 27 years old, I was working out, 6 days a week, and my doctor told me I had MS, and I'm like, okay, what do we do now? And he goes, don't do anything different than you were doing, Brian. He goes, you're in great shape, keep doing it. And I'm like, all right, game on, let's go. Screw you, MS. Let's play ball. And that sounds like the attitude that you and Darren have had, because Darren, he's sitting here with primary progressive, and he's just as positive as you. And I know that he's got to be,
Darren is more positive than me. Darren kicks my positive butt. Like he is just amazing.
So I want to talk about DMTs now, and I really want to talk about Darren. So. And the reason why I'm...
hold on a second, Brian. I got misdiagnosed at 27 and then got diagnosed at 28.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll correct that then. You got diagnosed 20. Okay, yeah, you were... Okay, you know what? I think I screwed that up, Darren, because I think I said I was 27, and I probably just said that. But, okay, but you were diagnosed, and I can't even remember where I was going with this now.
You talked about DMTs?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so DMTs, Darren, I want Destiny to you to describe it to me, because I know that they don't even have a name for this drug yet. And when we were talking earlier, I know that Darren would have a hard time with the drug that he's on. So kind of explain Darren's DMT, because I think this is really interesting for people to hear. It's a trial drug.
Yes, Darren's on a research drug. He originally was on Ocrevus. and this IV steroid. I can't remember what it's called. And he was on it originally once a month, and his symptoms were still really bad. He was still having a lot of falls. He was having a lot of muscle spasms. His fatigue was really bad. And so his doctor, Dr. Cody, who he sees at Owasso Memorial Hospital, she's an MS specialist, an MS neurologist.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, with doing the Ocrevus, which is immune suppressant, and this high dose of steroid, you're really putting yourself at risk for a really bad, bizarre infection.
Gotcha.
And so she suggested this research drug, and she gave us this information about it. I read it, Darren read it, his mother read it. We all really talked about it, had a list of questions. Went back to Dr. Cody, and she explained it because this drug was originally for cancer patients. And the way she explained it was like, okay, so your brain is a party, and there are party people at the party, and there are bouncers at the party, right? And the bouncers keep the party people in control, like they keep the peace. And the drug that he was on, like Ocrevus, it increases the bouncers, make sure the party people don't get too crazy. But this research drug increases the bouncers and decreases the party people. So it helps fight two battles basically for your MS. So he sees Dr. Pace, because Dr. Pace is the one who's in charge of the research drugs, and he gets MRIs every 6 months. And he sees the doctors every 6 months, and they get to see the MRIs to see if there's any new lesions or any new problems. And if there is, then Dr. Pace will let us know and say, this drug isn't working, or, we need to try something else.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we at any time have any concerns, or Darren feels it's not working for him, or he's having some type of side effect, we can opt out of the research drug. They also, of course, do all the MS tests, right? Drag your toe down your shin, put the little pegs in the peg hole.
All the fun.
The list of, yes, walk as fast as you can from here to the pole, and all those things.
Somebody touched the printer thing.
That one's tricky. Okay, so I've gone with Darren forever, and is it your finger or the paper clip? They poke you with the paper clip in your foot or your finger, and you have to close your eyes and guess. And I remember watching him do this test and thinking, how does he not know? And then they did it to me, and I was like, this is really hard.
Wow, I don't think I've ever had that one. Yep,
they take a paper clip and they point out the end, so they call it a pin, but it's not really.
And see if you feel.
And they poke you with it.
And they're looking for the
feel the difference.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? I have had that one done.
And they do it with every time we go, and it was surprisingly more difficult than I thought. I really thought it was going to be simple, and then when I did, I was like, it was actually more difficult than I anticipated.
So how's Darren doing on the research med?
He's doing very well, actually. He is stable, which is a huge deal with primary progressive.
Oh yeah,
he is controlled. He's in a controlled environment. He's not progressing, which is huge for him. Now, granted, it's still a mess, and he still has all the symptoms still, and he is a very severe case.
Yeah. I just, I just love the way you guys are attacking it, and explain to me how he got even hooked up with this research drug, because I know. I've been 27 years, and we got the Cleveland Clinic around me, and they got the Mellon Center, and it's a MS, like, supposed to be one of the best MS places in the world, blah blah blah, and they do all these researches, and I've looked into them, and I don't even know I never even knew where to start to even get involved with that stuff. So can you kind of like teach me something about how Darren even got involved with this? What's the process of what he did to get accepted into it?
Well, so he originally went to Dr. Nasrallah, who's just a neurologist, and he told Darren that he was too progressed. His MS was too progressed for him, that he needed to go to a special MS neurologist. And so he sent him to Owasso, to Memorial Hospital, because they had specialized MS neurologists. And when he started going there, he saw Dr. Cody, and Dr. Cody was the one, as Darren was in her care, she's the one who was like, hey, we have research drugs here. And I think that you meet all the criteria for this research drug. I know that Darren's research drug that he's on, they were looking for primary progressive MS patients.
Okay.
So he fit the criteria for that. So she's the one who then gave us the information. And then we met with the research nurse, Mary Beth, and we agreed to, he agreed to do the research drug, and we signed all the papers saying we agreed to do this. They asked if any questions. They were very, very nice, very friendly.
It's a very thorough process then. I mean, it's not like, here, you want this research drug and you sign your name and they're sticking it in you. I mean, it's like,
no.
It takes a long time. Yeah. Okay. That's kind of what I think.
It is very research. Yeah. And they draw his blood regularly. They would come to the house and draw blood. And it's when he first started the research drug, he had to go, I believe it was once a month for like 6 months. And then it was once every 3 months. And then it became every 6 months. Like they were very controlled and very monitoring with his health and his condition. Because you don't know. It's a research drug. You want to see how things are. And they ask all sorts of questions when you go to the appointments, and they are very thorough. Like his research nurse would be like, have you taken any ibuprofen while on this medication? Have you taken any vitamins? Have you, increased your all these things they want to know, so that way they can see if there's any potential side effects.
Sure. So let me ask you this quick question, because I know when I was looking into the research drugs, and this is pretty much why I always gave up on it, was there a like how many years you had to have been diagnosed? Because a lot of the research ones when I first started realizing that there were a lot of these trials going on and my MS was getting worse and I was getting desperate, I was sitting there going, maybe I should just do a research. And when I started looking into them a little bit, I'm like, okay, well, you had to have been diagnosed within the last 3 years or 5 years. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm way too old for that because I've been 15. So were there like age, like year restrictions on it?
Nope, his didn't have any age requirement. It was that they wanted primary progressive MS people. And
it's a double-blind study.
Yeah, it's a double-blind study. So there was a placebo given to some, and then the actual medication given to others. And it was a 3-2 ratio. 3 of the patients, like there's 5 patients, 3 of them would be getting the actual medication, and 2 of them would be getting the placebo. Okay. And so if we don't know, right. Darren technically could be on a placebo. But they did let us know that if at any point he decided he didn't want to do the research drug, or his MRIs came back that there was that he was having issues and this was not working, they would then offer him the drug up front and be like, hey, do you want to take the drug? We guarantee this is the actual research drug.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. All right. So how long is the study?
Actually, Darren's will be up here coming up. It's a 4-year study, and he will be out of the research part, I think, in August. I think it's August. And then he gets to decide if he wants to continue to take, then he will be offered the actual medication, because they will know it's the actual medication, and he can be offered that. He can take that.
Wow. Okay.
Because we technically still don't know.
Gotcha. Okay, so the reason why we're not saying what the name of this drug is because it doesn't have a name. So if anybody's wondering why, it's got like a bunch of letters and numbers on it. Like, I don't know what you say, like CR.
It does not have a name yet.
So, but I mean, that's just fascinating, though. I'm learning so much because I've never been involved with a trial, and it's awesome just to meet somebody that actually has or is involved in a trial. And I hope that this may be an answer for primary progressive, just to help it stop the progression. That'd be so awesome. That you're part of that, Darren. That's so awesome.
Yeah, I think it's definitely helped compared to where it was on Alchemist.
Man, I'm praying for you, bud. I'm hoping this is a drug that's going to keep you where you're at, or maybe even you get some improvement. Because if we're 1% better than you were yesterday, that's a good day, right?
Yeah, I mean, You gotta wake up and take a stop and be like, okay, I did the outside today. All right, I'm sure another stop. Okay, yep, I did it too, so I can walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every day is like, is truly is a blessing to where you still have the ability to do stuff.
Yep. Absolutely, man. I agree with you 100%. I can't argue with that at all, Darren, at all. So, Destiny, let's go to your DMTs and talk about what they ended up putting you on in your journey with your DMTs.
So originally I was on Copaxone,
Hey,
which has been
I started with that one too. Hey, we're twins.
okay. Well, I picked it, and I picked that one because it was least side effects.
Yeah,
Side effects.
I did great on it. I did 15 years on it. And that was my best.
Wow.
That was my best DMT.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I started with that, and it was a self-given injection 3 times a week. Is what mine was.
Oh,
And I was on that.
You didn't have to do yours every day?
Nope, mine was 3 times a week.
Wow. See, look at that. That's how old I am. When I got put on Copaxone, I was doing it 7 days a week. Wow.
Yeah, mine was 3 days a week originally, and I was on that for I think about a year and a half. And then I had some new lesions. So they switched me and I went to
Was it
a
an
different
oral?
drug, and it was
An oral or was it an oral or an injection?
an oral. It was an oral pill. Then I started taking it, and the doctor thought that would be great. He's like, "Oh, it's an oral pill. I don't give yourself an injection." I didn't really care.
Was it
Didn't bother.
was it Gilenia?
No.
Oh, okay.
I can't
Well, that was
remember.
that was
I was not on it.
that was the
I was
oral.
not
That
on it
was
for very long.
okay. So you didn't do good on it. Okay.
No, I was not on it for very long. I was only on that for not even 6 months. And
Oh.
I had they did my MRI, and I had a new lesion, and then this new lesion they were very concerned at the placement because it was like by the stem,
Yeah.
my brain stem.
Yeah.
And they said that that's, a lot of times people have symptoms with that, and that it affects a lot of mobility and issues. And so they were very concerned as to where that brain lesion was, that new lesion. And so they wanted to switch me to a different drug, but they were concerned because I have what is it called? It's like a virus in your brain. So I can't take certain medications because they can cause brain death and could kill you.
EML.
Yeah.
Are you talking? You're talking the JVC virus?
The JBC virus.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I have the JBC virus.
Okay.
And so the neurologist was concerned. Again, it was Dr. Nasrallah. They were concerned that the medication that they would like to recommend for me, because I have the JBL virus, they sent me to Owasso, to the neurologist specialist, the MS neurologist.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I see Dr. Cody as well, which is the same Dr. Darren sees.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I'm not really worried about your JBL. We're going to start you on Kisepta, which is a once monthly injection.
Okay. How you doing on that one?
So,
or how did you
that
do on
one
it?
doing very well. Very well. I've been on that a little over a year now. I have had no new lesions,
Awesome.
which is awesome, fantastic. I go in April for another MRI. And so far so good. I mean, I really like that's once a month. It's very convenient, lifestyle wise.
Awesome.
And the fact that it seems to be helping makes a huge difference.
Awesome. All right, here we go. This is where I want to start, because the best part about this whole story is that these are two MSers. Who wants to start with how you guys met? Because they didn't. They both didn't know each other before they got MS. And you guys go ahead and tell your story, because I think it's so awesome. Who wants to talk first? I'll give you guys a choice.
I got diagnosed probably a year after her.
Uh-huh.
And then my aunt actually introduced us. My aunt was her boss, was us's boss. And my aunt was asking her questions about the disease. and trying to find out through the back channels to see if my symptoms were the same as hers.
Okay.
So then she said, is it okay if I give, my nephew your phone number so you guys can talk about it? I was like, oh, absolutely, of course. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, she had talked to me about Darren before he had been diagnosed. Like he said he was wrongfully diagnosed about a year before he finally got the right diagnosis. And so she had talked to me about, oh my gosh, my poor nephew, like he's going through these things, like he's having a hard time walking, his speech is slurred, his balance is off.
Yeah.
People keep thinking he's on drugs. People think he's drunk, and it's not. And I remember her telling me these things, and I was like, "It sounds like MS to me, Carrie." I said, "But I was just diagnosed." I said, "So it could be that I just see MS because it's on my brain,
Right.
And she was like, "But he's so severe." And I said, "Yeah, but he's a man, and a lot of times MS affects men way worse." And
Yeah.
And so she gave him my number. And he started texting me, and originally he started talking about MS stuff, right? Do you have this symptom? You have this, And so we started talking originally about MS stuff, and then we just started talking about life. Do you have any kids? What's your job? What have you done? And then we went to Buffalo Wild Wings. We met the first time with his aunt and me and him, and we hit it off, and we became best friendsies, and then we were relationship friendsies, and
Yeah.
and
now
now
it's 4
Darren
years
calls
later.
us. What do you call us, Darren?
Damn, that's a duo.
The MS Duo, man, I love that. I love that. I love that. The MS Duo. So I got a ton of questions for you guys, but I'm not going to keep you talking to me all night long. But I just want to know, like, is it like because you guys just relate with each other and you guys understand each other and you guys get how, if one's having a bad day, the other one understands it. And I totally get that because I know a couple in England that are the same way. They were both in previous marriages and they got divorced and then they found each other and they both have MS. But you're the first ones that I'm actually talking to on the podcast, and I think that's so awesome. You guys have kids too. You each have kids, and it's like a blended. You guys are blended together. How do all the kids, like, they got two moms or a mom and a dad, and they are soon to be stepdad, soon to be stepmom, and everybody has MS. How do the kids handle the MS? With everybody.
I'm gonna say the oldest is right there for anything. If I lose my balance, she's quick to her reflexes are real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
She likes to she makes the joke because one time, okay, so when Darren wobbles, we call it Weeble wobbles.
Right.
He's like, oh, go a little to the left, a little to the right,
Yeah.
and so the one day he did it and he went, wee!
That's so awesome.
So, and now when he almost falls or he wobbles, she'll joke and be like, no wheeze, no wheeze.
No wheeze. Yeah, because you got. I mean, your kids are older, but they're still young. What'd you say? They were 8 and 12 and 16?
8, 12, and 16. Yep,
Yeah.
that's the 16-year-old. And the 8-year-old, he really enjoys riding the Amigos with Darren. He thinks that's awesome. He loves that him and Darren go on Amigo adventures.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. You got to do that with kids too. I talk about how when my kids were young and I used to do the Capax and I used to let them press the plunger down on it, and like stick it in my leg or whatever, or my stomach, and help me out with it. And, just to show them what MS was so they weren't afraid of it. So I totally get, giving them a ride on the Amigo, hey, this stuff isn't bad. This is just part of my life.
Yeah. We have a wheelchair ramp on the front of the house, and he loves to go down the wheelchair ramp.
That's so awesome.
Whether it be on the Amigo or now his new scooter.
That's so awesome, Darren. That's so awesome, and I just love it. You guys. I know that this disease sucks. I've been doing this for so long. I'm not going to sit here and argue with anybody that's going to say that this disease is great, but the way that you guys, your attitude is just so awesome to see and talk to and hear you guys, your voice. And it's just because this disease, if you don't act like this, if you don't try to stay positive, it is going to tear you up. And I just think that a lot of people don't understand that. And it just seems like you guys do, and you guys totally get each other. And it's just such an awesome story to sit here and talk to both of you.
Thank you. I think we balance each other out, right? He forces me to slow down and take care of myself. And I think I'm really good at trying to keep him as safe and encourage him to just keep going out. I mean, Darren loves to go. We went to Mackinac Island last summer on his amigo, which, by the way, Mackinac Island has a speed limit, we were told.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I had to call because Mackinac Island doesn't allow motorized vehicles. There's only bikes and walking. You can't have like electric scooters or any of that.
Right.
So I called and I was like, can you bring an amigo?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, but the speed limit is 15 miles an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. They allow golf carts. I think that's about it. That place is Mackinac Island's awesome. It's a place in Michigan. It's right off the lake and it's beautiful up there for people that are.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful.
It's amazing up there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Darren's the one that was like, let's go. Let's do this. And I'm like, okay. He does not let his disability hold him back.
You can't.
In any way, shape, or form.
You can't. Every summer I'm up at the lake. I'm up at Lake Erie every weekend almost. Me and my wife go up there. I up until last summer, I owned a jet ski and I was still out of jet skiing on the lake and all that. I mean, you can't stop life. You got, if you can do it because you might not be able to do it tomorrow. So you better do it today.
Yeah, exactly. That's my outlook on life. Like, I gotta walk 2 steps. Okay, I can walk today.
Yep.
Who knows I can walk tomorrow?
Yep. Yeah.
Who knows what limitations I'm gonna have.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? And that's why I appreciate you coming on here, Darren, because, you're struggling with your voice, but you still want to be heard while you still have a chance to use it. And that's why I had you on, because you got to use it until you can't anymore if MS is going to take it. And that's what I love. People need to hear this stuff, that this is what we have to go through.
Yeah, and I enjoy the education part. I know that I have been with Darren in public places and people hear his speech or see him wobble and have made comments about, do you think he should have another one? Or is he going to be okay? Or did he drink? And I have to inform them, no, he has MS.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate the fact that we are educating people that he's an illness.
Yeah.
It's not something that he chose to induce. It's not something that he was, foolish about. He has a disease. This is who he is. This is the way it is. I'm not gonna lie. I get a little angry.
Oh yeah.
Angry.
Oh, believe me.
I'm like,
believe me.
Like, no.
Yeah, believe me. It's some of the things that I hear from people. I've been told of some stupid things too. But I mean, being a bigger guy, I think that has something to do with. I probably didn't get said a lot of things too. But yeah, I've heard some stories that are just like ridiculous. And I mean, I get looks and head looks and all that. And I've had people say, "Hey, you might have had too many beers," and I'd be like, "Well, you know what? I got MS. What's your excuse?"
I bought Darren a shirt. I bought Darren a big shirt that says, I'm not drunk. I have MS.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm a little drunk.
Yep. Absolutely. Right. Yeah. Hey.
Yep.
I love it.
You gotta make fun of it. You gotta do the best of it, you know.
And take it every day.
It is what it is.
Every day you got to take it and attack it and enjoy it. And the sun's going to come up tomorrow, regardless of what MS does to you. So you might as well enjoy the day you got.
Yeah, he's very, very positive. He doesn't let any of it get him down. It's amazing.
Yep.
Like I said, he inspires me to just be happy with things, and then not just MS, right? Because it's really easy to be like, oh, I don't make enough money, or my house isn't as big as I want,
Yep.
or I'm not as fit as I would like, or whatever the thing is. And, and just kind of wallow in that. And then I look at Darren and I'm like, he's freaking awesome. He's
Yep.
kicking butt. What,
Yeah.
what do I have to be sad about? Like,
Man, it's so awesome, man. I could sit here and talk to you guys for 3 hours, and I can keep on asking you questions, but I'm going to be going to bed here shortly, so I'm going to be getting going. But I want to give Darren one more shout to tell some people about this disease, what you want them to know, Darren. Tell them how to fight. Tell them how to fight. Tell them how you have your attitude. Tell them whatever you want.
With this disease, it takes your mobility away, your stability. So a lot of people at that point in time just give up on life and just wallow in the endless.
Yeah.
And you just gotta pick yourself up and be like, oh, okay, I woke up today, I rolled out of bed, 2 steps. That's 2 steps more than what I took. So let's keep going. Let's try and keep walking. Whether it be with a walker or getting onto an Amigo.
I love it.
Or doing races. Like I have one of the Cavos.
Yeah.
And they're my Forrest Gump races.
That's so awesome, Darren. That's so awesome.
He dressed up as Forrest Gump for Halloween, like braces, outfit,
so awesome,
jump hat, and everything.
It's so awesome, man. If you can't have fun, then you got to have fun with it, because this disease isn't a fun disease. So you got to have fun with it, just to keep your sanity. How about?
Yeah, no.
I was going to say, how about I was going to give Destiny a last chance. Go ahead, Destiny, and tell people whatever you want them to know about this disease.
That it's just a step. It's just a part of your story. It's not your entire story, right? Like, it's just a chapter in it. It is not your entire book. And just like anything else, it is what you make it.
Yeah, I love it.
And I in an odd way, I kind of have to be thankful to MS, because I don't know if I would have met Darren without it. Yeah. And I can't imagine my life without him and our kids. And another thing is, I think with Darren's MS, it helps raise our kids to be inclusive and aware and respectful of people with disabilities. And, perseverance as well. Like, my kids don't bat an eye when Darren goes in with his Amigo. He comes to the school functions, and we load it up on the van. We take it to the grocery store. Like, they are completely comfortable with that. And I'm glad that I'm raising that awareness in them. I'm glad that I'm raising the disability is a bump, but it's not the end. It is not a hindrance. It does not mean you can't do these things. And I'm thankful for it.
Man, I both of you, I could not have said it any better than either one of you. And that's pretty good for a Sparty. I expected from the Wolf.
I'll bring you over to the dark side. We'll bring you over.
Oh God, there's no way. I played for Michigan. You're never going to get me to cross. Come on, you're lucky. You're lucky I'm talking to you, Destiny. I'm just joking around with you.
Jerry's just smiling, big old grin smile.
Oh, I know he is.
You're so mud right now.
Yeah.
He's not talking dirty.
Oh, you guys are awesome, man. I'm going to get going, you two. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast with me and just helping me spread awareness. Trying to help people understand this disease a little bit better, and trying to help just erase a lot of ignorance about this disease. I appreciate both of you, and I would love to come just talk to you again, maybe in a year or so, just to do a follow-up, see how you guys are doing and how Darren's doing, how the trial's going. Just a lot of great information with you two, and I really appreciate you two coming on.
And I can call you later
Okay.
after today.
Okay.
But things that I'm able to do that I wasn't able to do or things that I have to do now that I didn't do before because I could do other things.
Got it. Love it. Love it. Yeah,
So
you're gonna get. I got your phone number. We'll be talking to each other. I'm gonna be coming up to Michigan and seeing Jay, and I'm sure if you guys are 10 minutes away, I'll be seeing you guys too. I appreciate both of you. I appreciate both of you guys. This is the MS Michigan Man 64. I am going to get going. You all have a great night. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram MS Michigan Man 64, TikTok MS Michigan Man 64, and I'm on Facebook, Brian Wallace out of Brunswick, Ohio. You all have a good day, MS Michigan Man. I am out.